Hello everyone, I am Sabyasachi Ganguly from Quordnet Academy, and today I am here with Amitrajit Bose, who is a software engineer at Rakuten. So before we start, I'd like to bring about a brief introduction about Quordnet. So Quordnet is a group of institutions which among which the EdTech platform is named as Quordnet Academy. A Quordnet Academy now aims to revolutionize the edtech industry as it exists in India and worldwide. So, as of now, as you know, that India, the edtech situation is booming, especially after COVID-19 situations, and Coordinate Academy aims to improve that by focusing on the weaknesses of each and every learner and bringing them an excellent experience at minimal costs. So, today we are here to share the interview experience of Amitrajit Bose. First of all, I would like to welcome you here. And let me remind you that although he's a software engineer at Rakuten, he has got placed, I won't say placed, like he cracked the interviews in many companies, not just Rakuten, but also Codevita, Springworks, TCS, Infosys, and EPAM, to name a few. So, I would like to delve into all those, but before, we would like to thank our sponsors for today, hotochara.com. They're a gifting platform, and you can find your favorite gifts out there. We have the link in the description below, and you can check out the website whenever you want. Well, you can also, to all our audience who are here today, Amitrajit will also answer all of your questions, all of the queries which you keep having. So do put them in the chat box or in the comment section, and he'll be answering them one by one systematically. Especially those, and before you ask them, I'd request you to bear with us through the video because we'll be covering a lot of questions here. So Amitrajit, starting off. I won't directly delve into your interview experience. I'd like to start off a bit early. So, when you walked into UEM in 2016, what was in your mind at that time?
Okay. Um, okay. First of all, thank you so much for having me on this platform. So I walked into UEM out of school. It was 4th July and it was a rainy day. It was a different experience, I would say. First day I couldn't understand anything. It was like lots of people going into one single building. My college was just, it was initial days of my college at that time. And I saw so many people. I was kind of an introvert guy. I also am. Um, but so I really couldn't find any people to go and talk to, but I saw a lot of people. So I found some people and they approached me and talked. So it was a mixed experience, to be honest. I was we went up to a classroom and the classes began and we had some kind of initial introductions, some kind of initial speeches by the
Yeah.
dean of the college and things like that. So I was pretty excited, but it was everything new, so I couldn't really look up to something and compare. So it was completely new, but I was definitely looking forward to the next 4 years of my life directly out of school. You're pretty much immature, and you are excited about anything that's coming new.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, means, yeah, you definitely mentioned immature, but I don't think you realized it back then. Looking back, it must be a wonderful experience down the 4 years. So, right now you're in an SD position there. So, how when you came about through your years at UEM Kolkata, so when did this idea of following this particular interest of development come to you?
Actually, I was not um, doing a proper software engineering when I was in college. I initial days, well, in college you don't really get to experience industry until and unless you do some internships. So I did some internships, and most of them were in machine learning and as a machine learning intern. One of them was a very small role in software engineering. So I did some projects outside my college work and things like that. So I would say like I got introduced with my projects and normal free courses online and things like that. So after I got converted, after I graduated and I got into my job, so that was when I wanted to learn more about a course of sorry, core of software engineering. So that's when I shifted to software development engineering, as in proper core engineering outside machine learning, because that's something I did quite a lot as an intern, and I wanted to experience what it feels as a software engineer. So that's you can say as the motivation.
Yeah, that's definitely a very an insightful journey. Since you brought up the topic of machine learning, like I came to know that you were a Google AI facilitator when you were in your final year, most probably. So, could you just give an insight about how you came across that and how was your experience as a facilitator?
Sure, definitely. So, first of all, how I came across that, it was I had a friend actually. I came to know from a senior out of this college. So I was connected through him through a community. So it's like we were somehow connected, and he told me that there is this opportunity by Google that they are selecting a few people. They are taking a few interviews and selecting a few people for some program they're having. And by the time I was doing quite a lot of machine learning, so anything in machine learning was interesting me. So and definitely it's Google.
Yeah.
So I checked it out, and it was basically I had to post some video about explaining some complex topic. So I explained, I guess, about image segmentation, and after that I got selected for an interview. So they took an interview, and it was pretty simple. um it's nothing like as in job interview. It's like understanding you, who you are and things like that. And post that they selected like around 80 students all over the country. Not 80, I would say 60 or 70, 60 to 70, exact number I don't remember. For so they flew us to the Bangalore office in Google Bangalore office, and we had a direct interaction with engineers at Google. We went through some workshops, and so when we came back here, we were the facilitators, as in we would be teaching other students, other university students about machine learning, the fundamentals of that, and how to proceed in that. So yes, that's
That
how I got started. And the experience overall was really good. So I have always been interested in teaching people. So if people who follow me on LinkedIn, or yeah, maybe mostly LinkedIn, would see like I post things about computer science, or generally anything related to that. And I really like teaching. So that was a different side of me. So when I'm not busy or not into doing anything, I really like teaching because it helps you connect with people who want to learn. And it was nice actually teaching people. So I found so many juniors of our college who later connected to me and still are connected. So through machine Google ML facilitator program.
okay. So that was very like that was a good journey. Like the fact that you mentioned that you were selected out of the top 60 to 70, I would refer to them as the top because obviously you were among the best. That's why you were selected. So that was a great. That must have been a great experience. Uh, Coming into the fact of experiences and interviews. So, like, what was the first company that you interviewed for? Like, you were interviewed for?
Okay, first company as in on camp. So I guess for us the placement started. It was not COVID at that time, and our placement started probably in September or something,
Okay.
if I'm not wrong. And for me personally, I guess I interviewed first for Infosys through an exam called
INfytq, I guess.
INfytq, and it's basically it's an online exam of two stages. So the first stage they give you three questions, three questions and quite a few MCQs. I don't exactly remember the number. It's more than 50 for sure. Um,
Okay.
and it's out of 100. So basically, if you score 60 plus, 60% plus, more than 60%.
Okay.
Then they select you for interview, face-to-face interview, and
Ah.
through that they offer you a job.
Okay.
So
So.
actually, in the interview, there are like two rounds, I guess. For the first one is a technical round, and the second one is an HR round.
I see. That's pretty much you a good walkthrough through the entire process. And was so INfytq since it was through an exam INfytq, so definitely it was not a like on campus process as we call it. So what was the first on campus interview that you faced?
Um, on campus, as in,
Like
I
would
guess,
like often it happens like I'm we are observing these days like see companies like TCS they're coming on campus. So what was your experience of
right.
TCS only? You can just say out that.
When TCS came on campus, I was interning in Bangalore at a small startup in Bangalore.
Okay.
Uh, so I couldn't attend. I couldn't fly and come to Kolkata in one night.
Yeah.
So I couldn't attend that. But I attended Codevita and I got selected for an interview to TCS again. So at that time, I attended the interview and they selected. So Codevita, I guess the level of coding I should also discuss about Codevita. I
Yeah.
would come to that later. But first, let me talk about talk you through the interview process. So first, you would be going through the Code Vita exam, which are like two rounds. There's a mock Vita exam also for preparation. Other than that, you have Code Vita. So if you generally solve more than, so I shouldn't suggest a number, but if you solve more than two, you're in the safe zone. I would say you should get a call, but there is no safe number for that. The more you solve, the safer you are to
Yeah.
get a call.
Yeah.
Then I got a call similarly. I think I later got to know my rank was around 250 or something.
Oh.
Um, and I got a call. So it was, they called us to their campus. Yeah, I got a call from I guess Kolkata. There are two campuses in Kolkata. I don't know whether I should mention that. But okay, so I got a call and it's a whole day process.
Yeah.
And you have to wait for the call when you get a call to which panel. So there are multiple panels that
Yeah.
organize the interview, and they call you actually basically the way they have a way of calling serial wise, something like that. So they call you, and after that, um, for my panel, I was facing one interviewer, two technical interviewers, and one HR in single room. So there were
Okay.
four people in one room, including me. If it was COVID, it was would have not been possible. But so they were talking about how I solved the questions in Code Vita, and they asked me basic data structures and algorithms questions. They asked me about Python, some complex numbers, implementations in Python, and things like that. It was not difficult, I would say, not at all difficult, but it was completely dependent on which panel you fall, and completely dependent upon the interviewer, I would say. And after that, they would after the interview, you can like they would inform you if you are selected for Ninja or Digital. There is no transparent criteria upon which you get to know you are selected for digital or not. So they completely select upon it's completely depend upon the interviewer.
Yeah. So
So
it's
you
like
get
how
you get to
they judge you, and it's based on that.
correct,
Exactly.
correct, absolutely.
So
So
their
it's like
perception.
how exactly. So there is no strict scorecard or something by which you can also judge that I did really well and I should get a better role or something. It's completely upon them, and you should not be worrying about that, I think. So later on, I got to know that I was offered the Ninja profile. I was a bit disappointed, to be honest, because I had a really good interview and the questions were also on the competitive programming side a little bit. I don't know what happened, but I felt it was good. Um, there's everything to learn from each and every interview. So yeah, and I would be discussing about the questions of Codevita as well. So the Codevita questions, I would say they are not very difficult or very easy. They are kind of at the standard, which are more difficult than other coding interviews you generally take on campus. But but the first or second questions are generally easier than the others. The last two questions, I would say it's better not to waste time on that because they are pretty difficult. So basic advice would be to go for the first two questions. They're pretty easy, and then try the third and fourth one. So,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
they would be,
One.
yeah,
Like I'd like to interrupt you a bit on that because,
sure, sure.
like TCS, this time I myself sat for Codevita and they have a new system in place. I don't know it was there for Codevita or for the NQT processes, but like unless you solve one, you can't move on to the next. So
Okay,
so that's something that they have introduced in the NQT this time. So I don't know whether they'll put it in
okay,
next time or not. But yeah, but your advice definitely aligns with that because the first one as means as soon as you can complete the first and second ones, then you slowly move to the other more
right.
yeah. So that's definitely
More
an a
difficult questions.
fascinating
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, so that's a definitely a fascinating experience. Yeah, so that was like a very detailed walkthrough of TCS, and our viewers must have means must have had questions, but I don't think they'll have any more after this, except then what was the questions were. But I don't think you remember them by now, judging by the fact that you
Uh, uh,
had for so
to
many
be
interviews. Yeah,
Yeah, to be honest, they were not difficult, trust me. They were not very difficult. They were basically circling around basic fundamental computer science concepts. And since the programming contest is already 6 hours long and pretty exhaustive, to be honest,
yeah,
uh, they don't really judge you much on um, what extremely depths you have, but you should be knowing how to program, how to code, given you are given a problem to solve. Let's say you're given uh, write a program to find out a prime number, or write a program to given a range of numbers, which are the prime numbers. Very simple stuff, but you should know how to code that.
yeah,
So in an interview, I would say,
yeah,
that was for an interview. That was not for Codevita. Codevita questions are much more difficult.
yeah,
Um,
definitely, yeah.
yeah. Yeah. So yeah, so that was how that's how it's like. So I think interviews are pretty easy to crack for companies like for TCS, given that you know the basic fundamentals of computer science very well.
Yeah. Well, the fact that you're in Rakuten now and you sat for companies like TCS, it brings let it like automatically brings us to the comparison between product-based and service-based companies. So, what's your take on that? Like, how which one do you rate more highly, or and why?
Okay. I think that's quite a controversial question to answer.
Okay.
Uh, I think that is a very long discussion. It's we cannot summarize in 5 minutes. But I would say, if to someone who doesn't know the difference, service-based companies get clients who give them projects to work on, whereas
Yeah.
product-based companies have their own products that they develop and ship. So, for example, Facebook is a product-based company because they are selling their own software, Facebook.com. Google has their own softwares. For example, Rakuten also, they have their own softwares. Amazon, these are all product-based companies which are selling their own product. Whereas companies like Cognizant, Wipro, TCS and stuff, they are getting projects from different clients which they're developing and they are selling it to them. It's
Yeah.
um, it's difficult to rate or compare between them, but I would I would try not to do that because there are so many factors for comparison. They are like completely doing a different business. So some are dealing with customers, some are dealing with different businesses. So I would suggest that try to be open-minded as much as possible and take interviews. But there is one take that generally, in most of the cases, product-based interviews are a bit more difficult than like service-based interviews. That's from my experience, but there are companies which are easier to crack as well. Um, so yeah, that's my take.
Ah, yes. So
But be
that was
open-minded. I would suggest that you should be open-minded, not focusing on I will only get into product-based companies and not into service-based companies. You would get into disaster if you think like that. So be open-minded and take every interview you come across and try to crack them.
yeah, those were strong lines because generally people tend to look down upon service-based companies and but often it happens that Sometimes like especially in the case of startups, maybe product based startups don't make it. But then I'm not saying that even service based startups make it always, but still there is always a set of pros and cons to whatever there is. So that brings us to the like let me dive right into something which many of our audience have wanted to ask from you directly. So that's
Okay.
pertaining to your experience at Rakuten. So first of all, I'd like to jump into the interview procedure. Like not the interview procedure, like can you walk us through the entire selection procedure at Rakuten?
Sure, definitely. Why not? So for Rakuten, when I took the interview, it was a pool campus. So pool campus is when different colleges come together, and one of the college hosts the company basically. And so basically, it's much more difficult than on campus where you have only one college students. So you have, for our case, we had like six colleges who came together. So there was
Wow.
lots of students, honestly, for the first round. So okay, that's how it was. And for the first round, it was Hacker Earth based. So if you don't know what is Hacker Earth, go to hackerearth.com. It's a coding platform. So
Yeah.
it was a Hacker Earth based online test which comprised of four coding questions and quite a few quantitative aptitude questions, like around I guess the exact number, it would be around 40 to 50 um,
Okay.
multiple choice questions. So you had to solve that in a limited time. It would be, so the time again depends. So there is no fixed time, but for our interviews, it was like, I guess, I don't remember. So take an average approximation of that. It was around 2.5 to 3 hours code test
Okay.
for four coding questions and a few quantitative aptitude questions. Talking about the level of questions, there were first question was pretty simple. It's pretty mathematics based. I guess it's just required a simple application of a function or something, math function.
Okay.
The second question used application of stacks and queues. So that's how I'm telling you the level of questions. The
Yeah.
third question was a little bit more difficult on the dynamic programming side, and the fourth question was a story. So it was based on game theory. That's mix of mathematics and data structures.
Yeah.
So you had to. I remember that question very well because it was like you're given a puzzle to solve, a tile-based puzzle. So you have to swap the puzzles and bring it to a pattern. So what is the number of moves or something like that? Okay,
Okay.
and if you can actually do the swaps in that. So it's a game theory and a mixture of bit manipulation. So that's an advanced question. So the level increases slowly as you go increase from question one to question four. Regarding the quant questions, they were not very difficult, definitely. Uh, at the level of normal, like very not very difficult, I would say, but the main challenge is to solve them in the given amount of time. So there are lots of questions. Since you are doing four coding questions, that would take up a lot of time. It's very important that you know how to manage the time and allot that amount of time so that you can read the questions and at least take a guess at least which one would be the right answer.
Yeah.
So it's important to manage time. But in terms of quant, I would not say that they were very difficult. If you are preparing for quants, it would feel easier for you, I would say.
Okay.
And that was the first round. So from that round, I guess they selected a handful of students. If I guess more than 1,200 or 1,300 students applied for the first round,
Wow.
and they selected. Yeah, it was quite a long. It was a huge hall, so lots of students. I remember that day. And after that first round, it was. I don't know the exact number, to be honest, but it was around 10% or 15% of the total crowd, to be honest. And
Okay.
so the first after that we had a technical interview. The technical interview is conducted directly by the engineers of Rakuten. So for my case, it was so I was set up on a Zoom call. I was set up on a video conference call, and I had to So I had to answer. So the length of the interview was around 45 minutes to 1 hour.
Was it on the same day
And
as the round one?
that was the, wait a minute. I guess no, it was not on the same day. It
So
was not on
the
the same
Zoom
day.
call you had to like attend it from home, right?
In our time, we had to go to a campus and attend it there. But
Okay,
for
so on an
I guess
alternative day you had to just go to the campus and appear for
correct,
the Zoom call from there.
correct,
Yeah,
absolutely,
okay. I
absolutely
guess
correct,
this time it'll since the entire process is from home, so they'll just
correct.
do the same things but from home. So yeah,
Correct. I think and every year this companies and interview processes keep on changing. So they try to based on whatever is easier for them, they will do that. So
yeah,
you can't really rely on that, I would say. But what's important that you prepare well. So it was around 45 minutes to 1 hour of interview, and the questions were mainly from algorithms, purely algorithms and problems. So I was given problems to solve, like coding problems to like, for example, based on linked list, being based on graphs, based on stacks and queues. Uh, Very typical fundamental computer science concepts, which are basics, but you should know how to apply them.
definitely.
So my experience with competitive programming made it a bit easier for me, I would say, and that was for like first 30 minutes or so. Again, don't take my word for this. This will depend on interviewer and different
Definitely,
interviewers.
definitely. Yep.
So yeah, but these questions would be there. Like you would get questions from data structures, algorithms, and after that, you would also get questions from what language you have worked on. So if it's Java, you would get questions from Java. If it's Python, you would get questions from Python, C++ for anyone. So it depends.
So like they'll ask you, right, like what is your language of preference or something.
Definitely,
Yeah,
definitely. I think that's something that any company would do
yeah,
because if I might not be good at Java. There are some
definitely.
companies
Yeah,
which don't actually. There are some companies which don't, but that's a handful. But honestly, most of the companies, most good interviewers would ask you which language you're comfortable in. Because if
yeah,
I'm not good in Java, how can I answer questions in Java? But it's always a good practice to be good at C, Java, and C++ because they are taught in your university, right?
yeah,
So you can be good at JavaScript, you can be good at Python, you can be good at Golang, but that is out of your university syllabus. So you can be
yeah,
good at anything outside your syllabus, but you should be first good at in whatever you have been taught. They know they are
definitely,
in your
definitely.
syllabus, so you should be good at that. You cannot go outside without knowing the basics. So that's why most of the companies ask you C, Java, because everyone is expected to know that language.
Definitely.
Yes, so that was questions from there and basic questions from operating system, very basic questions, and a little bit mediocre questions from databases.
Ah, I see.
After that, yes, so after that, we were informed the results of that round within like 15-20 minutes after the interview. So they informed us that we would get another technical interview, and that
Oh
one
my
would be
god.
conducted from home. Yes, another one, and that one would be conducted from home. So it was, I guess, there was a gap of 1 or 2 weeks for us to prepare for that, and
Okay,
we got another. That was another video conferencing call directly from an engineer. So this was from a senior engineer or technical lead, I guess.
okay.
Um, and this was this interview was much more advanced than previous one, and there were much more critical questions from databases. So you don't they don't to be honest, they don't you nobody expects you to be an expert at your program, whatever you know, but you should know the fundamentals very well, to be honest. Like if you are talking about, if you are listing down a project in your resume, you should be good at that.
Yeah,
So there were questions in the second technical round. There were questions from again from because I had Java on my resume, so there were pretty advanced questions in Java, which actually, to be honest, also grilled me a bit. And I would be honest, so I felt very difficult that second round. Uh, and there were questions from databases, pretty so questions like what are triggers? They are like basic questions. What are triggers? Like you should prepare
yeah,
those questions from any sites like Geeks for Geeks or anywhere. So
yeah,
what are things like what are the basic differences, describe the acid properties, the normalization things. Then you might be asked to design a database for a project, for a problem. You might be asked to, like there can be application-based projects, application-based questions, which you need to really understand any concept of database to apply them to, other than mugging the questions and answers.
Definitely.
So questions like that were there. And apart from that, I guess I faced two to three coding problems, which I would say were not very difficult, but one of them was difficult based on a graph, a complicated graph, and other two were pretty simple based on hash maps and simple use of arrays.
Okay.
And after that round, okay, so there were also some questions that were from the area of concurrency. So if you are studying Java, you should also touch up a bit on threading, the chapter we have called threading and
Threading, yeah,
concurrency.
yeah.
Yes. So
Threading,
also
multi-threading, and stuff like that.
yes, perfect. Exactly. So also touch up a bit on that if you're preparing, because you might get questions from that as well.
Definitely,
So
definitely.
yes, those part, and so that was all about the second round. It also lasted for around an hour, more than an hour and 10 minutes or something. I don't exactly remember the number, but it was more than an hour.
Oh my God.
And after that, we had the final HR round, which was not nothing related to technical. It was behavioral questions like, but I am not sure that happened for everyone, because for internship positions that I applied through, it was a very basic. It was um, like knowing you, that's it. But if you are applying for a software engineering position, which is full time, there would be a much longer behavioral round. HR questions would be there, your strengths and weaknesses, all those types of questions. So
Okay.
yeah, that's all. And after that, we got the offer around a month or less than a month from that.
Okay, so
Yeah.
probably that was a very detailed description, and I guess our viewers won't have any questions after that. So that's definitely thanks a lot for that, because like getting such a very detailed description is very rare, and in this context, I believe Coordinate is doing a great job in bringing out such interview experiences from people like you who have been there and done that, as they say. So, keeping that in mind, let me just rewind back to something that you said previously. Your means while they went through your CV, and definitely your choices and everything were carefully examined. So, could you explain to me how much your experience in machine learning or your exploits in machine learning helped you in the interview procedure?
Um, in interviews for job, you mean, right? For after outside college, right?
Yeah, I mean, for Rakuten and maybe overall as a as
Uh,
an interviewer.
for Okay. For Rakuten, it did not help, to be honest. It was zero because the role was not for machine learning. It
Okay.
was internship in software engineering. So it's
Ah.
not related to machine learning. They do not want experts in machine learning for that role. They want you to know. Uh, I think most of the companies would want you to know the fundamentals of computer science. If you're a computer science engineer, very well, in a very solid manner, you should know that. And the thing is, like, you can know very different types of databases, you can know thousands of machine learning algorithms, but if you're not good in fundamentals, I think you would face a tough time giving the interviews. So I would suggest
Definitely.
that make sure your fundamentals are strong enough before you jump into machine learning algorithms. So to be honest, they are like add-ons. They are not replacement for your basic knowledge. So as a computer science engineer, you need to know, and as a fresher, to be honest, um, as a fresher, you need to know the fundamentals very well rather than very advanced databases, very advanced graph sequels and or machine learning algorithms. You need to know the fundamentals very strongly. So after that, if if you have other knowledge, other outside projects and things like machine learning, and there are like so many things happening today, right? Advanced Android development, and you have big data. So they are like add-ons.
Yeah.
So you should focus on that. Add-ons can never be a replacement for the basic knowledge.
Definitely. So that the last line really summed it up. Like add-ons can never be a replacement for basic knowledge. That's something that everybody must note, especially those who are going for interviews soon after. So that being said, that actually that procedure I believe highlighted almost every procedure that like almost every IT sector or product-based company follows. And as you repeatedly said, that the fundamentals are very important. Keeping that in mind, like as I was going through the number of companies, the really long list of companies that you aced through, so could you just like give us a comparison of how your experience at EPAM was in comparison to the ones which you just said? So
Okay, so for EPAM, it was quite a good experience for me. Um, I did not take the round at Kolkata, so I went to Hyderabad for the interviews. Um,
okay,
and it was okay. So I'll walk you through the entire process. So the first round was online. It was coding round, just like Rakuten. They have coding questions. They have three coding questions. Okay,
okay,
and around 10 15 MCQs, which are completely on uh, computer science and basics, very basic things of within computer science databases and simple programming languages. Like you might expect some snippets of code, and you might be expected to write the output for that. Still, to be honest, like select the output for that.
I see.
And there will be three coding questions which are pretty simple, very simple. The first one is might take you like 5 to 10 minutes to solve, and the second one is a bit difficult. It would take you not more than 15 minutes, not very difficult. The third one is generally a bit longer, but not on the tougher side.
I see.
So I know a lot of friends who cracked that round. So I am like giving a very unbiased opinion. It would not be difficult for anyone to crack. So after that, you have the first. Um, okay, so you have the first technical round. Okay, just give me a minute. I think uh, we had. Okay, yeah. We had a group discussion round after that. Okay,
Okay, so that's
so
new.
the first round after that was group discussion. It's a bit new, and I think they generally alternate these two rounds. Either you would have a technical round or you would have a group discussion round,
Okay.
and depends on generally if it is streamlined, you might have the technical round first, or you might have the group discussion round. So the group discussion round I had was like there were 10 people on one table, and there was one judge, basically one person who was coordinating that. So we were given a simple topic, and we were asked to like start talking about that, create a basically discuss and debate on that. Um, the topics are not very high profile. They are simple things that are happening, that are like pretty much easy for anyone to talk about. So, for example, you might expect things about general daily life, things that are going on in the news. So you don't need to have a very special niche idea of topics that are very specific. So you can expect like known topics. So yeah, after that round, so out of 10 people, I guess only two or three were selected from for my case. Um, they were sent to technical round. The technical round was a one-to-one technical round where questions were mainly from Java. So EPAM uh, focuses primarily on Java. Apart from data structures and algorithms, which is like mandatory for any at fresher level, there were questions from Java, questions like what is polymorphism, what are the different what is object-oriented programming, how is Java an object-oriented programming language,
So basically, the
um,
like the basics of Java, basic concepts of Java.
basic questions like
I see.
basic concepts of Java, nothing very difficult. But again, interview is very random, so you do
Yeah.
not. It's better you do not expect something. It's better you prepare well. So you can expect even threading concurrency type questions.
Okay.
For me, the interviewer focused more on algorithm side, and luckily I my strength was towards that side only. So I could answer the questions, and even Java I was able to answer. So
Okay.
the technical round was done, and after that we had one technical round, and after that we had after that we had HR round. So HR round is basically you have a one-to-one talk with an HR from EPAM,
Yeah.
and they would ask you very basic stuff about where do you want to see yourself, things like weaknesses, strengths, like very basic HR questions. And once you are done with that round, that's like the final round. If you're done with that round, they offer you the role. So I think
Okay.
they used to offer they used to at my time they used to offer junior software engineer position. Um, and I think they are still offering that, but I'm not sure. Maybe they also offer an intern position because some of my juniors are also recently interning, I heard, at EPAM. So there is something new also happening from
Yeah,
their side.
yeah,
So I don't
definitely.
know the latest things.
Definitely, yeah. Some of my, as you said, like some of my batchmates have been there. Like it's not more much of an internship. It's like a training program, but definitely
Okay,
there'll be
okay,
better things to follow also. So
okay, okay.
that being said, like as I concluded from most of your interviews, means most of the interview experiences which you've had till now, one thing which you could rely on or fall back on was your experience in competitive coding, which is very evident when somebody visits your LinkedIn profile, because the first thing they see is ICPC regionalist and 5-star golden hacker rank and whatnot. So, could you just give us an idea into like when you started your journey into competitive coding and how was the journey?
Okay, yeah, sure. So I started competitive programming with CodeChef. There are lots of platforms where you get the questions and you have to solve them. So CodeChef was the simplest one for me at that time. So I guess I was in my end of second year, or probably in the middle of that, when I had a lot of free time and basically wanted to do something. And I guess someone suggested me also. Batchmate of mine only. Um, he suggested me that there is this thing, very cool thing, that we should, like, let's team up and learn this. So this is like competitive programming, and I have heard that if you're good in this, you also strengthen up your core computer science skills. So I was like, yeah, let's try this. So later on, I got interested in that. I started doing it very simply, like very simple printing questions, for loops, and things like that.
Very
Um,
basics.
yeah, very basics. So it's like it was very slow curve initially, and I started getting interested in that. It was like I think it should interest anyone who has knack into problem solving and analytical side of things. Um, so if anyone who doesn't know computer programming, I'll give a short idea about what is that. So you're given a question, and you the questions are not like write a algorithm for prime number. It's real life problems. It's more of a story given to you. You have to read the story,
Yeah,
understand
yeah,
what should you code, or what algorithm should you think about to solve the problem. So in a given time, if it's a contest, or basically you need to write the small portion of the code for that, and if it passes all the test cases, you're good to go. That's a correct answer. So things like that. So it's more of puzzle solving and mixture of maths, puzzle solving, computer science. So
definitely.
it's pretty fun, and I got interested into that. So it started happening at the hindsight outside along with college exams, semester exams that we have after every few months. Um, and later on, by the middle of third year, I was lucky enough to find a few friends and a few seniors as well, with whom I teamed up, and we got to know about ICPC. So ICPC is like this. International Collegiate Programming Competition. So it's considered the internationally the most prestigious coding competition.
Yeah, like the World Cup of
Um,
coding competitions, right?
yes, it's
Yeah.
like the World Cup of coding competition, you can say. So they're like all over the world, programmers participate in that and solve things like competitive programming questions. And they basically, there are rounds like regionals, there are semi-finals, there are finals and things like that. So first round is like the online. So you have you so I remember we participated. So that was the time in third year that we had a team and we actually studied for ACM ICPC. And if I remember, it was we there were like we took some, we were not able to qualify for the regionals. So that year we were not able to qualify. So someone from our college, some other team got qualified and we were not. But that the most exciting thing about that was I got to learn a lot throughout the preparation. And that preparation for competitive programming helped me a lot ahead in life. And so I got to know so much more about advanced algorithms, advanced data structures, and I'm really thankful for that. And after that, we thought, let's say, so the trick about ACM ICPC is that you cannot participate in that once you're outside college. So you have only 4 years
Okay.
to participate. Yeah, you have only 4 years to participate. For the first year, you don't know anything, so you are just into college.
Yeah,
For the
yeah.
second year, also it's pretty less time to prepare and know the crux, the good things of
Yeah,
computer
means
science,
by the time
advanced
you
things of
just enter second year, you are means you're
exactly,
just preparing yourself. So third year and
exactly,
fourth year are the main,
correct,
definitely the years that you
correct,
can shoot for the gold.
correct.
And
And out of I have seen that people from IITs and NITs, only they get to some of the teams from IITs and NITs, they can crack the competition regionals in second year only. But comparing to other colleges, private colleges, like you need the time. You don't have such professors. Maybe I won't say it's not only about professors, but it's a bit different. So obviously, um, so third year I couldn't make it. We couldn't make it. Fourth year we gave it a shot, and we qualified the online rounds, and we were through for the regionals. So it was fun because fourth year we did not even work hard, to be honest. It was all because of the efforts we put in the previous year. So it got carried forward. We just did a little bit of touch up and a little bit of you know when
fruits of
once you have a
labor,
group.
fruits of labor.
Yes, yes. So once you have a group, it's very easy to focus on something. So that was it. So that was my entry into competitive programming and then my journey through competitive programming. And you can check my profiles on HackerRank, HackerEarth, and I used to do this throughout my last 2 3 years, I guess, of college. And
Okay,
yeah,
so
that was a pretty nice experience of competitive programming. It's quite nice journey. It teaches you a lot as a programmer, as a human. It teaches you to be patient. It teaches you how to work hard and things like that. You would know that. I would suggest you try that.
okay, so that was pretty much and like this experience of yours might be very important for people who are starting out, especially in second
Yeah.
year, because they can follow these, maybe I won't say footsteps as per, but it's more like a workflow. So you know what to do is you just have to do it, and
Yes. Yes. And
it's
I
yeah.
yeah, I would like to interrupt a bit because I would really love to see much more number of people interested in competitive programming from my college. Because when we started, we did not have that passion inside the college. So there were very few number of handful of students who were interested into this. Uh, and gradually the number increased from first batch to second batch to third batch. And I would love to see more people interested in um, competitive programming. And I hope this would increase the awareness of them to know about CodeChef, these platforms, ACM, ICPC. So I would highly encourage people to try it out.
Okay. That brings us to one very specific debate that's again there's which is there throughout the market. That's it's like the debate between development and competitive coding. So many people, especially those who start out, they face a means they are like, should we focus more time into competitive coding or should we focus more on development like web development, Android app development, or development of other skills. So what's your take on that?
Okay, that's a complicated question to answer, and that's pretty deep, I would say, because both of them focus on different areas. So competitive programming is about solving problems, okay, solving small problems. But as development is about solving much more bigger problems. So you want to build an application for a business that you have in your locality. You want to build an application or a website for your college, things like that. So I think the best advice one I could give in short um, to a student, to any guy who's listening this, any college student who's listening this, is that try both of them. I would say try both of them and find which one suits you. But the thing is, competitive programming has a very steep curve, so you would not be interested at first. Uh, just that the questions would seem very easy initially, but later on the questions would get very difficult and the curve would be like exponential. So
Yeah.
you need to have little more patience and little more perseverance, I would say. But development on the other side is it has a gradual growth curve, and I would for my viewpoint, it was I was enjoying computer programming, so that's why I did it. It's not that I didn't do development at all. So I also did a little bit of development in terms of I built a lot, I built a few projects, and I learned Django. I remember learning Django from online tutorials and building websites with that. So I explored development as well. But I was not a pro in development. I was just working my way through and learning stuff.
Yeah, so that's very important because this means especially at Coordinate we receive a lot of questions from people who want to learn whether we should focus on competitive programming or we should keep developing, and I believe Coordinate is also working to ensure that both these platforms, or both these, I won't say platforms, it's like both these avenues of learning keep going side by side, because they for a computer engineer definitely both of them are very important. And as you said, they're among to be honest, right now they are among the fundamentals and you can't let them go wrong. That being said, now we were talking a lot about on campus and off campus. Now I would like to like bring your attention to another type of interview that you recently that you got that you cracked. It was at Codeva, because I heard that you got it through LinkedIn. So could you just give us a brief introduction about that, about Codeva
Sure,
and
sure.
your
Um,
experience?
Yes, Codeva is basically applied research work. So I think that name people are much more familiar with. So
Okay.
Applied Research Works is a company. Uh, it's a pretty good company, and it's based out of Kolkata. And so in India, they have their offices in Kolkata. And I got to know about the role from LinkedIn, and it was a very small post I read, and I saw that they're hiring. uh, so a friend of mine applied there very seriously and told me that you should also apply. Why not? So I was outside college then. I was interning with Rakuten.
Okay.
I was in Bangalore at that time. So I applied for that. It was a very small. I just had to send my resume to that email. So the next day I got a call from them, and they asked me if I'm free for an interview. So so there were like one interview. It was like very basic questions about um, binary search and things like very simple stuff like what is databases. Very simple. Like that guy was um, probably junior or something. I'm not sure, but that was very basic. After that, I had a very tricky round, I would say, because it was like four or five interviewers online round. Uh,
Okay.
it was like four or five interviewers opposite to me, and they were asking questions on very complicated database problems and um, coding problems. Again, the domain remains the same, so you get coding questions. So I got a few coding questions. I got to They gave me a application. like a problem where I had to design the database structure for that. So how would I design the database for that? So that was a bit difficult, and they asked me a little bit from my projects that I have done in my resume, that I had listed on my resume, and that's it. I guess it was around 40 to 45 minutes, and the difficulty was, I would say, medium high, not very high, but medium high.
Okay.
And after that, they were interested to offer me the role, but yeah, so they offered me the role, and I was in between the internship, so I had to complete the internship and then only join them. So my joining was delayed for to them. So yeah.
I see. So that was unique because, like, we don't have a lot of much of experiences of people who have cracked jobs through LinkedIn, especially, and
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, and it's definitely good to learn about this from here too. So, I guess our audience have figured by now that Amitrajit Bose is among those people who have like they've entered something and they've conquered it. I came, I saw, I conquered, that type of thing. Yeah. So that almost wraps up almost all of the interview experiences that you had, and like among all the interview experiences that you had, which one of them was the most satisfying to you?
Okay, I would not say any single company, because I would go for rather rounds of interviews. So
Okay.
the most fun I had was, I guess the most fun round was the first round of Rakuten, first technical interview of Rakuten, because uh, the most of the questions were from. I remember, like, I had fun giving that interview. By that time, I had given a few good number of interviews around, like, many companies, and I was confident by that time on giving interviews. So, and the questions were also pretty much lined up with lines of interest. So, given a problem, I was thinking through it, I was solving it. So, the first round was really nice. I literally sailed through that round, and I was pretty confident that I would crack it. So, that is very important. If you are sure about you can crack that round, that means you have done really good. So
Yes,
yes, the
definitely.
results also came very early for that round. When the second round cracked me through, it was just opposite. It was very difficult for me, but I was lucky that I got through. Um, and to on my second, I would say, that was the most fun. The second one would be a very fun interview I had with a for EQ Technologic. I was not offered a role there, but that interview was pretty cool as well, because the questions were really nice. So that guy asked me on. So that was also a senior engineer from EQ Technologic. That guy asked me about literally advanced data structures, and I really enjoyed talking about them to him. But they were like, for example, I was not good on some areas, and I was, to be honest, a bit nervous with some questions, and that
Okay.
probably, okay, there were also some puzzles which I was not able to solve at that point. So it is very important that if you are giving interviews, make sure that you should know things that are in your resume. So you should not put things that you don't know in your resume, because that can backfire. And secondly, make sure that fundamentals are very well known to you. So that will help you crack interviews. And that's it. And thirdly, if you don't crack an interview, don't be disappointed. So it's like they're very random. They depend on your performance on that day. So it's a lot of mixture of luck and hard work and efforts. So I would say.
Yeah. That's a
So
very
yeah.
important message because many people don't handle failure the way they handle success, and that's very important to be kept in mind that your failures don't define you, your successes do. Uh, that being said, from like it's been a quite a lengthy session, and just I'd like to
I had
conclude.
fun.
Yeah, definitely. So I'd like to definitely conclude with one question, like, uh, what would be your message to not like that, like if you are given a time machine and if you could go back in time and meet your second year self maybe, then what would be your message to him? Just
Okay,
let's just
second
assume that
yourself.
you won't like create any timeline adversaries or anything. Let's just stick to what would be your advice to yourself.
Um, okay, so one advice I would give is college is the time to explore. So I think explore as much as you can. So you don't need to for be very, like make sure that you are focused about what you want to do, and that is very difficult actually. That is very difficult to focus because I have seen lots of people who cannot. So in their first year or second year, they don't even know that they like what stream they selected or not. If they actually selected electronics and they really like it or not. So it's very easy to say when you're ahead, when you have actually crossed that part. But um, I would say when you're in college in first year or second year, explore as much as possible. So you get to know something from every field. So I tried doing Android programming. I didn't enjoy it that much. I tried web development. It was nice for me, but if I felt it was difficult to be honest. So I tried different things, and I would suggest that to anyone who is in their first or second year. Try as many things as you can, be it any stream, not just computer science. In college is the time to explore, not just studies, outside studies, play, participate in hackathons, participate in cultural fests, explore as much as possible because later on
Yeah.
you need to actually find out that time from your daily schedule to do new things. So college is the time. Also focus on studies and also explore. So yeah.
That was a
So
bold thing. Focus on studies, you know. That's
yeah,
especially bold when you
yeah.
say it to yourself.
Yes, because I couldn't do much. Means to be honest, like in our time, I think every engineer studies on the night before the exam, and that's an universal rule. So, but yeah, that I won't deny that. I won't go against that. Do that definitely, but make sure you also maintain standard CGPA because it doesn't matter how much people say that CGPA doesn't matters and all. It does matter at least to a bit because you don't need a 9.9 CGPA, but at least maintain a certain CGPA, and you should work hard to maintain that because not just for companies, they ask for a minimum CGPA, minimum cumulative that grade. Apart from that, if you're studying, if you're applying for companies, uh, yeah, for masters or abroad or something like that, any further studies, you need that. So make sure you also maintain that.
Okay, so thanks a lot for your guidance, I would say, because your session was extremely enlightening. It's not just pertaining to one domain, but to wherever, because you yourself have explored a lot of domains, almost everything, if I guess. So, yeah, so thanks a lot for being with us today, and I mean sparing so much of time and guiding answering all our questions. If and to our audience, if you have any more questions, please keep putting that into our comment box, and yeah, so Jita will keep answering to you. And if you want to contact him, I guess his LinkedIn is always open. Jita.
Yes, yes, absolutely. I'm very much connected to lots of students of my college through LinkedIn as well. And if you want to reach out to me, I guess I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Twitter, and feel free to send me a message. I would be very more than happy to help you.
Yeah. And if you want to contact us at Coordinate Academy, you can definitely drop us down in the comments and we'll definitely contact you. And that being said, thanks a lot to all our audience who've been watching through this. And thanks to Amitrajit Da again, because
It was lots of fun.
this session was extremely enlightening to all of us. Thanks a lot to our sponsors at hotochara.com for again for sponsoring us through this interview experience and helping us bringing out new interview experiences every I won't say week because we are having it very regularly now. So thanks a lot to everybody. We hope to see you soon. Bye.